Hi, I'm Corey, founder of Neuron. A single missed call can cost you a patient worth thousands. Let me show you the custom AI voice receptionist we build and run for you, how it answers and books around the clock, how it learns from your team, and how we keep it safe. Before you sign anything with an AI receptionist vendor, there are 9 questions worth asking because 95% of enterprise AI pilots never even reach production. We pulled the exact questions that expose whether a vendor actually goes live, is supervised, and prices honestly, so you don't get burned twice. The short answer first. Ask any AI receptionist vendor 9 things. Does it actually go live? Is a real person reviewing what it says? Is it a genuine agent or a rebranded chatbot? What happens when it doesn't know an answer? How fast does it really respond? What it costs, including overages? How long until go live in writing? What happens to the work if you cancel? And whether its own reviews are recent and real. None of that is sales page skepticism. It's straight from 2 of the most cited 2025 studies on why AI agent projects fail. MIT's Project Nanda and Gartner's Agentic AI research worked backward into the specific question that would have surfaced each failure mode before you signed. So let's start with why this category needs a checklist at all. MIT's Project Nanda studied 300 publicly disclosed AI pilots, 150 leadership interviews, and 350 employee surveys for its State of AI in Business 2025 report. The finding? 95% of enterprise generative AI pilots never reach production or produce a measurable financial return. Gartner's own June 2025 research goes further, predicting over 40% of agentic AI projects will be canceled by the end of 2027, and naming 3 specific reasons: escalating costs, unclear business value, and inadequate risk controls. None of that means AI receptionists don't work. It means the gap between a working one and a stalled one is almost entirely in how the vendor builds, supervises, and prices it, which is exactly what a demo never shows you. Here's exactly how we picked these 9, and what we deliberately left out. We started from MIT's and Gartner's own failure research and worked backward to the specific question a buyer could ask that would have surfaced each failure mode in advance. We added 2 grounded in real, currently published vendor pricing rather than industry averages, since honest cost is where most vague answers hide. We also dropped several commonly repeated questions, like whether the demo voice sounds nice, because those test the demo, not the vendor. Here are the 9, in the order to ask them. The first 3 disqualify a vendor before you ever discuss price. Question 1. Does it actually go live, or does it die in the pilot phase? This is first because only 5% of custom-built pilots MIT studied ever reached production at all. A good answer sounds like a specific go-live date tied to a written scope. A vague, "we'll get you set up soon," is the same sentence every one of that 95% heard. Question 2, is a real person reviewing what it says, or does it run unsupervised? Gartner names inadequate risk controls as one of the 3 specific reasons it expects over 40% of agentic AI projects to be canceled. A good answer names who reviews transcripts, how often, and what triggers a correction, not just the word managed. Question 3. Is this a real agent or a rebranded chatbot wearing an AI label? Gartner's own analysts call this agent washing and estimate only around 130 of the thousands of vendors marketing themselves as agentic AI actually offer real autonomous decision-making, escalation logic, or memory across calls. Question 4. What actually happens when it doesn't know the answer? A confidently wrong AI near a patient or a customer is the fastest way this category damages a brand. A good answer names a real escalation path to a person. It will figure it out is a hope, not a policy. Question 5. How fast does it actually answer, day and night? 62% of calls to a small local business go unanswered by a live person, and fewer than 3% of callers routed to voicemail leave a message. 24/7 coverage on a features page and a system that answers ring 1 every time are different claims. Ask for a live test call at 11 p.m., not a promise you'll see it in the demo. Question 6. What does it actually cost, including overages, and what happens if it doesn't work? Real 2026 published pricing across live staffed and AI answering services spans from a low pay-as-you-go floor with no required minimum, up through AI-only starter tiers, mid-range brand name plans, and a wide volume-based range with per-call surcharges once you exceed your tier. A good answer states the overage rate before you ask for it. A vendor that states the overage rate unprompted and can answer what happens if this doesn't recover more than it costs is pricing a product. A vendor whose price is only available on a call is pricing a hope. Question 7. How long does it actually take to go live, and who's building it? MIT's report found buying from a specialized AI vendor and building an integration partnership succeeds about 67% of the time, roughly 3 times more often than an equivalent internal build. A good answer is a number of weeks, in writing, tied to a signed scope. Question 8. What happens to the work if you ever cancel? This is a contract terms question, not a marketing one. Ask what data, scripts, and configuration you keep, what the vendor deletes, and how much notice either side owes. Get it in the agreement, not the pitch. And question 9, the 10-minute check you can do before a first call. Are the vendor's own reviews recent and real? 74% of consumers specifically look for reviews written in the last 3 months. Check Trustpilot, G2, or Capterra for review dates, not just star count, before you ever pick up the phone. So, you've asked all 9. Here's what to actually do with the answers. Write the 9 answers down and read them back without the vendor in the room. The pattern separating MIT's 5% that reach production from the 95% that don't is rarely one dramatic red flag. It's usually 2 or 3 vague answers stacked together, a soft go-live date, an unnamed review process, and a price that's only available on a call. Any one of those alone might just be an early-stage vendor being honest about limits. All 3 together is the profile of a project that stalls before it ever reaches your front desk. If you want to see how we'd answer all 9, here's what that actually looks like. We give you a real go-live date in writing, tied to a signed scope. We launch supervised, every action reviewed before a caller hears it, and a senior engineer reviews transcripts to correct and improve it. It always escalates anything it can't confidently answer to a real person, instead of guessing. And on the money question, we price against your real known call volume instead of a generic tier, so the overage guesswork disappears. And we'll tell you in writing what happens to your setup if you ever want to leave. If you'd rather just ask us these 9 questions directly, we'll answer all of them in writing before you sign anything. The full checklist, the side-by-side table, and real published vendor pricing are all at neuronhq.com/blog/9 questions before you buy. And picture life after the system. Every call answered, every lead booked, and your team finally free for the work only people can do. That's Neuron. Let's build yours.